Hello, everyone, and welcome to Casual Experts. I'm your host, Mike, and joined as usual by Luke. So, this whole Ben Affleck thing that's been going around the internet lately, there's been just a lot of stuff. I've been seeing like stuff about him not directing a DC movie. Some have even been spinning it, saying like like he's rejected James Gunn's new DC plan, kind of thing, like kind of acting like he saw what James Gunn wants to do with DC and didn't like it, so he's not going to come back and direct. But
Mhm.
that is not really what's going on. I kind of wanted to give context, so I'm going to be reading from the original Hollywood Reporter interview that
Okay.
like people have been pulling from. Obviously, it's a long interview, so I'm just going to be like talking about and reading the relevant stuff. So he kind of started out in this vein talking about Justice League,
Mhm.
saying because he was talking to the interviewer about like he prefers making those smaller like kind of indie-ish movies that nobody really goes to see,
Yeah.
and uh and the interviewer was like, as opposed to, and then he said, as opposed to the Justice League experience, the fact that those stories became somewhat repetitive to me and less interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, I did finally figure out how to play that character, Batman, and I nailed it in The Flash, which he has said before. This is kind of reiterating. He said, for the 5 minutes I'm there, it's really great. A lot of
Mhm.
it's just tone. You've got to figure out what's your version of the person. Who is the guy that fits what you can do? I tried to fit myself into a Batman. And by the way, I like a lot of the stuff we did, especially the first one, Batman v Superman.
Mhm.
Then he goes, and then the interviewer said, but not Justice League. What went wrong there? Which a lot. And then Affleck says, Justice League. You could teach a seminar on all the reasons why this is how not to do it, ranging from production to bad decisions to horrible personal tragedy, and just ending with the most monstrous taste in my mouth. The
Mm.
genius and the silver lining is that Zack Snyder eventually went to AT&T and was like, look, I can get you 4 hours of content. And it's principally just all the slow motion that he shot in black and white. And one day of shooting with me and him, he was like, do you want to come shoot in my backyard? And I was like, I think they're a union, Zach. I think we have to make a deal. But I went and did it. And now Zack Snyder's Justice League is my highest rated movie on IMDb.
Oh.
And the interviewer said, isn't that because Zack Snyder's fans are so intense online? And then Affleck replied, say what you want. It's my highest rated career movie. I've never had one that went from nadir to pinnacle. Retroactively, it's a hit. All of a sudden, I was getting congratulated for the bomb I'm in. And I was going to direct a Batman, and Justice League made me go, I'm out. I never want to do any of this again. I'm not suited. That was the worst experience I've ever seen in a business, which is full of some shitty experiences. It broke my heart. There was an idea of someone, Joss Whedon, coming in like, I'll rescue you and we'll do 60 days of shooting and I'll write a whole thing around what you have. I've got it. I've got the secret. And it wasn't the secret. That was
Mm.
hard. And I started to drink too much. I started to drink too much. I was back at the hotel in London. It was either that or jump out the window. And I was just, and I just thought, this isn't the life I want. My kids aren't here. I'm miserable. You want to go to work and find something interesting to hang on to rather than just wearing a rubber suit. And most of it,
Mm.
you're just standing against the computer screen going, if this nuclear waste gets loose, that's fine. I don't condescend to that or put it down, but I got to a point where I found it creatively not satisfying. Also, just you're sweaty and exhausted. And I thought, I don't want to participate in this in any way. And I don't want to squander any more of my life, of which I have a limited amount.
Mm.
And then, like, this is the big question that people have been kind of taking somewhat out of context. The reporter asked, so if DC came to you and said, do you want to direct something? And he said, I would not direct something for the James Gunn DC. Absolutely not. I have nothing against James Gunn. Nice guy. Sure he's going to do a great job. I just wouldn't want to go in and direct in the way that they're doing that. I'm not
Mm.
interested in that. So that's kind of the full context. And I feel like a lot of just like the clickbait posts and all that stuff online have been missing which like I get, it's like
Yeah.
several paragraphs of, things that he was saying, but not everybody, but some people, and even just like some confusing headlines that kind of make it seem that way, make it seem like, he outright rejected James Gunn's offer or something, when it's more like he's just sticking to what he's been saying for the last few years, that
Mhm.
he doesn't want to direct big IP stuff anymore, star or
Mhm.
direct. He wants to stick to his,
Right.
like his own production company that he and Matt Damon have. Like they're coming out with that movie Air soon
Mhm.
about, about the invention of the Air Jordans and everything. It seems like they want to stick to movies like that are more like, smaller story based movies, which, I totally
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
I mean, I love comic book movies, but they seem like they would be fun usually to work on. But at the same time, they're not exactly, they don't seem necessarily fulfilling art wise. They just seem fun. Like depending on the
Right.
movie, like there are some that are a lot more
Mhm. Mhm.
intense and acting driven, in more like character studies,
Right.
but your average Marvel movie is going to be you in like an uncomfortable suit standing in front of a green screen kind of thing, which,
Right. Right.
like there's only so much of that you can do before you feel kind of like, burnt out, I'm sure.
Mm.
And I feel like, he hadn't really done anything like that, Ben Affleck, before
Right.
he was cast as, well, he had done Daredevil. But
Mm.
since Daredevil, he'd done some action movies, but nothing quite like Batman, and it seems like that just
Right.
was not something he enjoyed for multiple reasons. Uh, no small reason was the Justice League fiasco.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, so that's that. Just kind of want to talk about that, but that's pretty much all the news I wanted to cover.
You posted on Instagram that Tom Cruise saw the Flash
Yeah, that's
movie, and I
right. Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to kind of like ask if you knew any other information about that because I thought that was
So
kind of curious.
apparently, Tom Cruise, like I'm guessing he saw the trailer or something,
Okay.
and he actually got in contact with David Zaslav and
Okay.
asked if he could like see an advanced copy of The Flash.
Yeah.
And he did, and he liked it so much that he personally called Andy Muschietti and like
Mm.
congratulated on him on it, said it was great, and he said something like, "It's everything you want to see in a movie" or something.
Huh.
Which I mean, on the one hand, I don't really care like
Yeah.
about Tom Cruise's opinion on much, but at the same time, I know a lot of people are huge fans of him, and it is kind of cool to see a DC movie get that kind of accolade from somebody in the
Right.
business.
Right.
Also, I feel like, Tom Cruise, this might drive more hype for the movie,
Yeah.
which I feel like has already gone up quite a bit since the trailer came out.
Mhm.
But because I do feel like the movie is, definitely writing a lot on like nostalgia and like trying
Yeah.
to be like, hype bait, I guess. But I feel like, hearing that from Tom Cruise might get some more people to go see it, which I'm all
Mhm.
for. So
Yeah.